This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
We're at All Seasons Ice Rinks with Jimmie Frasco of Waubonsie Hockey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You guys are having a phenomenal regular season in conference play right now. What have you liked about your team as a whole this year?
What I like most is that we've had some big injuries during the course of the year. Basically, since about just before Thanksgiving, I've lost 1 to 4 players, and the rest of the players have understanding that they have to move to different positions, different spots, and they've all rose for the challenge to go after it. And some of them don't like it, but they like the challenge to go into another spot, and I think that's what's helping us stay the way we are right now.
What I've noticed so far this season, you guys have been able to roll 3-4 lines. There isn't not 1 or 2 guys taking over like a Tommy Stobart or a Ben Vitry in the past. So what about having that depth on this team makes it a little bit different for you than years past?
Well, with the team a couple years ago, we always counted on 1 line, and that was our heart of the line. With this year, I have 3 lines that can put up goals and stop a team, anywhere, and they're proving it. And with the injuries, once I get the 2 guys back from injuries, I will have a 4th line again that you need. To be successful and to keep going deep into the playoffs, I need the whole team. And right now, I'm waiting for the couple players that are injured, and the team guys are waiting for them to come back too. It'll be a nice push for us for the rest of the playoffs and into the state tournament right now.
Now, this is maybe a question you haven't had to deal with in the past, but with it being a combined team with school, players from Mattia Valley, from Oswego, schools all over the place, what is that like to kind of get the guys together to focus on one main goal and not worry about the other school parts, I guess, of it?
That's a good question. At the beginning of the year, each year I do it, is I kind of break it down at the beginning and say, I don't care what school you come from, every school is important, but we have one mission here to do, and we play as a unit. And at the beginning of the year, that's the first thing I go over, and I instill it tremendously with them. So we play as a team, and that's the main thing. Doesn't matter if there's 3, 4 schools. We're all as one.
Now, speaking of schools, you guys are 2 wins away from setting a school record that you already own. Have you guys thought about that? What's the mindset with just 2 games to go, I guess, in the season?
Yeah, it just came up recently because it wasn't on our chart at the beginning of the year of our goals, but it just popped up out of nowhere. So we had to make a little bit of a change with our phases and how we want to approach the year. We did win the West, but the important is getting everybody to play. So it would be a personal goal for the team. It's something I think we would like to do, but at the same time, we still have to keep building our confidence and our play and keep getting stronger as the 3 players come back from injury. It's there now, and we're hoping that we can rise to the challenge. It'll be a nice thing for all these new kids that weren't here 2 years ago to see that.
Speaking of 2 years ago, obviously it ended at the highest of highs with the state championship. When did you know that that team had it in them to win it all, and how are you taking that experience into this team this year?
The team 2 years ago, it was the Rockford game that we played that we were losing going into the 3rd. We had a nice talk in the locker room. We came back, killed the penalty, and we came back and we just dominated with the Stobart and Vitry line and O'Hara that just came out and set the tempo, and everybody saw them and they just followed on. So that last period of that game, no matter who I put out there, they were at their ultimate best, and it just made it easy. For this year, I don't have those guys, which is, I don't want to take nothing away from that team or take this team. And this team is totally unique from that team. And I feel right now I could just whip out anybody out there at any time, and they will make us score that goal or block that shot or do what it takes to get us to win the game.
One player that wasn't part of that team 2 years ago was Evan Pike. This year he's having a phenomenal season. What about him that you can see maybe a little bit of those guys in the past in him? He's scoring at an unbelievable rate right now.
Yeah, Pike's he's our team captain this year. He's a very quiet guy. He does not ever want to get beat. He'll work so hard to come to the bench and some of the kids will see what he looks like, and he'll go out there and he'll get run over or get a couple cheap shots at him because he's leading the league in scoring. And they see what he does, and they want to be just like him or help him or take some of the pressure off of him. But everybody likes what he does, and I'm very happy that he's playing the way he is because I know he could always do it.
You still have a handful of players from that state championship team with Jake Stobar, Arnaud Ferreira, Jake Serino. So when you guys still have some of those core guys from that team playing this year, do they talk about that experience, even going through the Illinois West Cup into the Blackhawk Cup? Is that ever talked about at all?
It gets brought up every once in a while. When we were getting a little bit of a rust spell there, they were bringing that up in the locker room, saying that this is what we have to turn around. We have to be able to take the game, see what we did, the good and the bad, listen to what the coaches are saying, and turn it to the right way so we can get back there. Because it's kind of unique to ever get there. Doing it once in a high school year is great. Possibly maybe doing it a second time. Some of these kids will do it twice in the same time. I don't know what those guys will be doing afterwards if we get that far.
You have a couple different goalies that you've been rolling out there with Charles Collins and Jacob Swanson. What have you liked about their play in that? Obviously, you guys have only given up, a couple goals a game, I think, in league play. So what have you liked about what they're doing in that?
Well, at the beginning of the year, they were both new to the team, so they were both fighting for a #1 spot. And Swanee actually came out and started practicing more, and the more we kept shooting at him, playing around us. He was nervous. So was Collins. They were both very uptight. I think there was a high expectation of being up here, not having any varsity experience at all. And the team made them feel good. They surrounded them. When there was a bad goal came in, they let them know. When they made fantastic saves, they were the first ones out there telling them, "Hey, you're the reason why we're going to win a game, and you did your part. Now it's our turn to help you out right here." So they brought a lot to us, and I think they added to the chemistry of the team this year, knowing that we do have a goalies that can make some big stops that could turn us around.
Speaking of league play, you guys only have one loss right now in the division. Is that a thought at all about wins and losses, or is it kind of like now that you've already clinched the regular season, let's just move on?
Well, we got 2 games left, and we'd like to finish strong. We like to just keep polishing up some of our areas that we can work on. And the last 2 league games are going to be very good. We got Wheaton West, and the last game of the year is against Nequa, which is our senior night, and that's always been, for the last 8 years I've been here, it's always been one of the highlights of the seniors for both schools. It's a great game. It's a great game to play in. Everybody always seems to play better that game. And last year with the roles reversed a little bit, them on the top and us trying to chase them, it's always been a phenomenal game to be a part of. And it's going to be a very good game.
Last year's season ended a little sooner than you guys had wanted, I believe in the state semifinals from last year. What was that experience like to kind of get to that point, obviously after the year before winning it all, and now you come back with another team that looks like they can make another run?
Yeah, last year when we made it to the semifinals and made it to the Final Four and got down into that last period, I think we thought that we could have just pulled it out, but a couple small mishaps, and we talked about it in the locker room, what could happen. The game was being so close, and it kind of did happen. Unfortunately, it happened for the other team and not for us the way we wanted to. And it kind of broke us down a little bit, and it was heart-wrenching at the end of the year, to end the season up like that, going the year before, going so far. Coming into this year, we talked about that at the beginning of the year, how close we were, how hard we worked, what was involved, this extra sacrifice, the extra teamwork that was put in, and we kind of knew, and everybody had a little bit more in depth from the 4 guys from the previous year and then the guys last year all coming into this year, how close it can be. So this year we're very senior heavy, so they might never have a chance to ever be this close to winning something as nice and prestige as what's coming up, the Blackhawk Cup.
Obviously, like we said last year, it ended earlier, but what is the end goal for this team and where you guys are at right now?
Well, the end goal is to go as far as we can go, is to keep playing when everybody else is not playing. That'd be a great thing. But the thing is that what happens now is when the season is done is that all the hard work these guys do, and we talk about some real life situations that they're going to be going on, and they won't be together after this year, and they're going to be going to college. A lot of them will be going to school, and it won't be as easy as it is here, and just trying to get them ready to take the next step in life. So it's sad for some of us, and you know, it's always hard when you have a good team and you have to say goodbye and you can't use them for another year. So it's very touching. But the way that these guys all came together this year, and the way that they, you know, it's tough with 4 different schools, and then going through the injuries, and then having everybody just being a part, and it makes it work. It makes it more satisfying to be a coach and be a part of something that can do this every year. But it all starts with the organization, and you know, that's Mike Spack, Tom Jansen, Brian Caputo, that's always supported me and the coaches here, and always made this organization very good for us to keep us the way we are, working so hard. So that it starts there first, and then the players see that, and they see how they trust in us, and they want to be part of it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Coach. That's all the time we have for today, but I want to thank you again for joining me, and good luck the rest of the season.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good, someone that's going to be edited, right?